Guess who's back? Back again. Oda's back. Chapter 1130.
All right, titled The Accursed Prince. And if you know Norse mythology, you know who is that accursed prince.
It's Thor.
Definitely.
This week's cover page.
And we're back following Yamato's journey across Wano, or as we see here, not really, because Yamato is asleep. And Tama is sleeping on Yamato's stretched out arm. Last week, we saw that Tama was in the middle of her training, her Kunoichi training, while Yamato was in the back cheering her on.
Believe it.
And now, guess they're both tuckered out, because now they sleep. While they sleep, we see a silhouette of an arm holding Yasuie's katana, which was entrusted to Yamato to deliver to the Enma shrine by Kiyomon. Let's recap. In chapter 1124, Yamato prevented the abduction of a young lady, and we saw the silhouette of a guy running away.
Yeah.
Then in chapter 1125, Yamato found out that legendary carpenter Minatomo was missing.
Mm-hmm.
Then in chapter 1126, Yamato learned that girls from the soba shop in Kuri had gone missing. And now Yasuie's katana, not a person,
Has gone missing.
So is this revenge?
I don't know.
The plot thickens. And this is just a cover story.
I know, right? Oda's so intricate with his stories on the cover pages. I love it.
And now this chapter starts with Frankie yelling, "Hey, listen up, warriors. We're calling off the search." And in front of him are the giant warrior pirates who respond with the giant what?
Nani?
Because I'm like, there's a giant warrior named Kashi who yells like, "We ain't found squad after all this searching." Then Frankie responds like, "Yeah, I'm sure they'll be fine.
They'll be okay.
You can bet your ass they're gonna be alive. Thanks for looking out though."
Leave them to their own devices. They'll survive.
And after all the back and forth yelling, we finally get a calm response from who else but Robin, who says, "That's right, we'll wait for them on Elbaf. They'll also make their way there." And then Jinbei says, "Yeah, we've done all we can. My network of sharks is worn out. We appreciate your effort." I forgot that Jinbei could talk to fishes like Aquaman.
Yeah, he's a fish man. Like what?
But not all fishmen can do that. Arlong didn't command fishes, bro. He command fishmen. Brooks says, "We're also out of food. Let's not starve ourselves to death." Skull
Jokers already bodes, bro.
Then with a big smile, Bragi responds, "I see. I'm sure it'll be fine if their crew says so."
If they say so, sure. All right, cool.
Bro, the Straw Hats do this every arc.
Literally every arc they do this.
Then Bragi yells to the other Giants crew, "It's decided. Set course to Elbaf, you slimy oafs." The crew responds with a big yeah. And then Bragi says, "Let's toast to our homecoming." And someone responds, "But boss, we're out of food and booze." So on the next page, we see a shirtless Luffy with his arms up yelling, "It's huge!" Then we get a bird's eye view and see a wall with a hole in it, which was the hole that they just smashed through in the previous chapter. And you could even see Iscat running away, like at the bottom of the panel. It's running away.
No way. Oh, it is. Oh, wow. I didn't catch that.
And it's saying, "Meow." Translation, "It's cold, bro." Because we can see that it's snowing.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a giant tree in which someone points out to it and says, "Check out this tree. It's got to be like thousands of years old, right? It's huge." In the next panel, we get a wide shot of what's ahead of them. And there's a snow-covered castle on a hill, along a bridge leading to that castle that is coming from the direction of what seems to be a giant tree, a silhouette of a giant tree. And since it's snowing, the terrain is surrounded by icy mountains. Then we get a bunch of speech bubbles of the Straw Hats in all of the view saying, "They're all so big." Next, "It's freaking cold in here." Followed by, "Is this a mountain?" Then finally, "Look, there's a super long rope bridge." And then in the next panel, we see the Straw Hats and their reactions to the scenery. And Nami says, "This place is so vast, it's making me dizzy." Usopp with a shocked face says, "Ah, giants! And they're crossing the bridge! Hide!" And then we see the two giants he was pointing out to, and they're conversing. And like Roto, they are also part of the new giant warrior pirates, we have the beautiful ship's doctor, Gerd. And I'm not calling her beautiful because I'm a simp. This is important to point out because it's going to be funny in a moment. And then the hefty ship's cook called Goldberg. Yes, I'm a mark. Gerd says, I don't get Hyrudine. Why'd he let that crackpot join the crew in the first place? Goldberg responds, it's because he's a skilled navigator. Started talking about Roto.
Yeah.
As Gerd walks, there's a big owl on her arm, and it says, "Whoo!" Agreeing with Gerd. Gerd continues, I can't stand him. They may call Loki the shame of Elbaf, but he deserves that title even more. And Goldberg replies, Roto probably wouldn't mind you calling him that.
Do his laugh. You got to do his laugh.
I can't, bro. You do it.
So interestingly enough, speaking on Oda's cover stories, these two we met. They were shown as just a cover story. It was just their character, and he explained who they were. So we had actually met these two, not in the story, but through cover stories. So
no, we met Gerd. She was the friend of Linlin. She was the child, the little blonde child.
Are you for real?
Yeah, that was her. It was mentioned that it was her.
Was Goldberg there too?
I don't remember Goldberg, but I remember Linlin. She was the blonde little girl that told that old pirate of how chaotic Linlin was being, and then that old man died.
That's crazy. Not gonna forget Gerd, because Gerd is a medical condition. So,
and she was traumatized by Big Mom,
and now she's a doctor.
She overcame that. So then Gerd, while looking at her owl, says, "You sure of what you saw, Piper?" Who? His crow was carrying a small ship, right, Piper? Who responds, "Woohoo!"
Hey, Rob Lucci got some competition now, bro.
Then Goldberg, while laughing, says, "We're meant to arrest intruders, but Roto keeps smuggling in intruders on his own." Then we get to see where the Straw Hats hid, which was behind a log at the end of the bridge that Gerd and Goldberg are crossing. Nami whispers, "Get back, Luffy!" Because while the rest of the crew are either behind the log or peeking behind the log, Luffy's just standing next to the log. And he says, "But they look like nice people." And Luffy is now joyfully walking towards the giants.
Good old Luffy.
While Nami screeches, "Wait!
Never change Luffy.
Then Gerd says, "We'll let Elder Jarul know as soon as we find him." And she's speaking on if they find people that have been, again, smuggled in by Roto, then they're going to report him. Usopp, with tears in his eyes.
He's like,
But he's whispering in excitement, "Did you hear that? They said Elbaf! We finally made it!" While in the back, Sanji the simp, with hearts in his eyes, excitedly says, "I never thought I'd see such a giant babe." And then Luffy yells, "Hey, over!"
He's like, "Hey."
Nami quickly shuts him up, covers his mouth, and angrily says, "Moron, didn't you hear them? They're looking for intruders." Having heard the noise, though, Gerd and Piper and Goldberg turn around. And I guess they wait for a moment because you see the wind blow by. And then they wait for a moment. Nothing happens. And Gerd says, "Probably our imagination." And Goldberg responds, "Right." And so they turn back and continue on their way. Then they arrive at their destination, which was the castle that was on the opposite side of the bridge. And they knock on the front door. And Gerd says, "Roto, you there?" If the Straw Hats were able to hear the conversation, like Nami and Usopp pointed out, between Gerd and Goldberg, then Gerd said Hyrudine's name. So wouldn't Luffy have heard that and be like, "Hey, no, they know someone I know"?
I don't think so. He forgets a lot of people's names, unless he gives them a nickname.
But he doesn't really forget his friends' names. He gives them nicknames, though. So you might be right. It seems that after Gerd and Goldberg arrived at Roto's castle, the Straw Hats just quickly
made a run for it
and started crossing the bridge away from Roto's castle, because on the next page, they're in the middle of the bridge. Again, there are some speech bubbles that we can't see who is saying them. So I'm just going to go and guess who are the people saying what. One says, "Wow," and I'm guessing that's Usopp. The other one says, "It's shaking," and I'm thinking that's Nami. The last one says, it's so long. And I'm guessing it's Chopper because he's small. Then we finally get a speech bubble that has Zoro's face on it. So now I know who's saying it. And he says, we better hurry. We'll have nowhere to go if more come, because they're in the bridge and it's just one way. In the next panel, we get a better look at the Straw Hats on the bridge, a closer look, and everyone is jumping and walking across the bridge, while above them, Luffy is walking on the ropes like a G.
As he does, and as the captain does.
In the back, we see a growling speech bubble, and beneath that speech bubble, there are a couple of wolves. And Nami yells, this was made for giants. The gaps are too big. She's talking about the plank of woods where they're walking. And Chopper says, keep going, Nami. I used to cross a bridge like this all the time. You'll get used to it. And no, Chopper. Nami will not get used to it. If it threatens her life, she will never get used to it. Usopp is on the edge, holding on to dear life on the ropes that tie the planks of wood together, and he's shaking. He says, this is just a trial to prove that we're worthy warriors.
Oh my God. He got to step it up. He's in his place, the place that he wanted to go to this whole time.
Usopp, it's just an everyday bridge, dude. And I guess he looks down because then he yells, the forest below is filled with huge wolves. And while standing on the snowy covered rope, Luffy has his arms crossed out and he's just looking into the distance with a serious face. So Zoro asks, what's wrong, Luffy? And Luffy responds, you feel that? I'm getting goosebumps. And then Sanji says, we can't go and see, all right? And Zoro responds, then Sanji instantly yells at him, you can't go either. All forests from now on, off limits. And Luffy says, I heard something, even back in the block country too. A roar. It's gotta be coming from down there. Before they can even say anything, peace. Luffy jumps off the bridge and says, I'm going on ahead. Caught by surprise, they can only yell like, what, Nani? Back to a close-up to them, Nami's yelling, hey, Luffy. Well, Chopper yells, where are you going? There's wolves down there.
He don't care.
And in the back, Usopp, while trembling, is like, this is nothing to Usopp, the brave warrior. As the cold snow falls and the freezing wind blows, the Straw Hats march on. And so we go back into seas on the giant warrior pirate ship. Once again, we see multiple speech bubbles without owners. So the first one yells, it says we attacked Egghead? I'm guessing this is Frankie.
Yeah.
A calm speech bubble says, according to the morning paper,
Robin.
And so again, assuming it's Frankie's, yells back, why would they lie like that? And now Broggy, him speaking, and he says, it's too small to make out. And I'm guessing he's trying to read over Robin's tiny little shoulders, but she's holding a tiny little newspaper meant for a tiny little human. And so Robin replies, I'll read it out loud. And it says, the giant warrior pirates have awoken after a century-long absence. They set a Egghead ablaze with the Emperor's Straw Hat Luffy. The captains of this legendary crew, Broggy, the Red Ogre, Dory, the Blue Ogre, have received new bounties of 1.8 billion berries apiece. He responds like, they changed our bounties to 1.8 billion? And then Dory says, we didn't intend on making a comeback. And another giant behind them says, your bounties used to be only 100 million. That's quite a jump. And then Robin adds, prices would have changed a great deal in the past 100 years. This amount seems reasonable for you captains.
She's like, according to inflation.
In today's class with Robin Sensei, we shall cover over inflation.
And the price of bounties going up over the last 100 years.
So Robin continues, they are also blaming Luffy for Vegapunk's murder. They all yell like, what? And then Frankie says, they're always changing the narrative.
That boy said fake news, bro.
And then Lilith, while laughing, says, so you guys killed me, huh? And then Frankie responds like, shut up, old man. We fought tooth and nail to save you. And then Jinbei adds, the WEJ somehow always gets their scoop, even on Egghead. Whoever took this picture probably got a handsome reward. And then Robin says, hey, when Luffy turns into that freedom form of his, does he normally get this mark on his arm? And she points out an X on his arm. We hear you. We hear you, Vivi. With tears in our heart, we hear you. There's a responding speech bubble. We can't see who it is, who's the owner of it. So they say, not sure. He was hopping around too much for me to see. Robin adds, it seems off. His arm is blurry, but the mark is crystal clear. Frankie asks, like, why worry about it? Robin responds, it just seems familiar.
Dang, bro. I am a fake Nakama, bro. I just realized as soon as you saw the X.
Dude. As soon as I saw the X, bro. Soon as I saw the X.
Sorry, not sorry.
Bro. Fake fan. That's probably my favorite moment in One Piece, bro.
Yeah, because you're a simp, dude.
Big News Morgan did say it in front of her what the title of the newspaper was going to be.
He did.
Vivi got mad that Wappo had to hold her back.
Yeah, no, he let her know, like straight up. Yeah, Luffy killed this guy.
Morgan did publish it, but Vivi must have talked to somebody in the editing department and be like, hey, dog, can you draw an X on it? So now Dory interrupts and says, so Straw Hat is officially on similar standings as Red Hair, right? Probably referring to Luffy being an emperor. And Broggy says, even that whippersnapper of ours, Hyrudine, is under your umbrella, I hear. And so Kashi says, that rambunctious brat is the king's kid, you know? And then Frankie replies,
Nani?
like, what? Really?
Nani.
So Kashi adds, he wanted to fetch you himself, but we had seniority. So besides, someone's got to keep an eye out for trouble in Elbaf. And then Frankie responds, trouble. And then another giant responds, see, Elbaf has a prince and it has another prince. It started a while back while our captains were missing. When he was born, they called him the accursed prince. He said the thing. He devoted himself to the darkness, and a few years ago, he was sentenced to crucifixion. He tried to flee, but we all warriors came together and caught him. And then Frankie surprisingly yells, like, what? Like all the warriors in Elbaf for one guy? And then Jinbei kind of remembers this story because Jinbei old. He's all like, wait, his name would happen to be...
You're so terrible because Jinbei old. Wow, dude.
The giant continues. Yeah, he's not right in the head. You see, there's a legendary devil fruit that is said to be passed down through the royal family. His desire to eat it was so great that he killed his own father, King Harold. That's why we don't let the accursed prince loose again. If Loki ever does escape, it'll be the end of everything, Ragnarok. He's the shame of Elbaf. When he said that, we cut back to the bridge to where the Straw Hats are. So on the next page, we see Luffy standing in front of a chained giant. The giant is sitting down, legs stretched out, arms spread apart, and a lot of wrapped chains around his body. By far, the coolest looking giant we've seen.
No, for sure. Yeah, definitely really, really cool design.
The giant, with his tongue sticking out, says, state your name. And Luffy replies with his trademark introduction, I'm Luffy, the man who's gonna be the king of the pirates. And then the giant replies, king? And Luffy asks, where is this place? Who are you? And the giant replies, this is Warland, the mighty kingdom of Elbaf. They say it is the birthplace of war. I am the sun god who will bring about the end of the world, Loki. And as he says this, we get a whole wide shot of the land of Elbaf. In the center is what I assume to be the Tree of Life, Yggdrasil. Around it is the ocean. Beneath it is the snowy mountains. And in the middle of the tree is a layer of land that is made out of the branches of the tree. And on top of it is just a nice full bloom treetop. If we zoom in, we can see the bridge where the Straw Hats are at. And you can see a little speech bubble that says, it's shaking again. Which I'm assuming is Nami. Thus officially begins the start of the Elbaf arc. And the end of this chapter.
With a 2-week break.
If you watch Loki in the MCU, the helmet that Loki wears in the MCU.
Yes.
Is this Loki here is wearing a similar helmet.
And then he also has bandages covered around his eyes because he's blind. No, I'm just kidding.
They really restrained him then.
It really restrained him. If even his eyes, what if he has the Sharingan, bro?
You can see like whatever weapon he has. There's like a stick.
There's a weapon
behind
there.
him. Yeah, there's a weapon. So it's chained with him. I'm guessing. Remember that giant? There's a new warrior giant pirate that got caught by the Navy while he was asleep.
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
One way or another, they restrained him as he was.
His design does remind me a little bit of Katakuri's design, honestly.
What happened with Katakuri, dog? He beat down Luffy, right? And then we eventually found out that he's not a bad guy.
He's not a bad guy.
He's pretty cool with his family.
Yeah.
But you heard they really slammed his name in this chapter.
Oh, no, for sure.
So he may be a character that is misunderstood.
What if for the first time in One Piece's history, there's always a princess in distress. Now there is a prince in distress that Luffy's gonna help out.
Yamato was hated for being Kaido's child, and then turns out to have a good heart. So Luffy saw that this person ain't a bad person. So join the Straw Hats.
Yeah. Join the Straw Hats. That'd be great. That'd be crazy work, bro. That would be really cool, but that'd be crazy. Yeah, but he's gonna help him for sure, and then bring about Ragnarok. So
yeah, this whole killing his father business, big misunderstanding.
Yeah, he's like, all right.
I'm really curious of what their devil fruit power is,
if they have one.
Oh, Loki has one. He killed his father for it, supposedly.
So that's the thing, right? They said he killed his father for it. Did he eat it, or were they able to stop him from getting it?
It could be a case where someone did kill his father. So this could be another Ace.
Yeah.
Meta Coliseum up for grabs.
I wonder what it is though. Like, it's a legendary devil fruit. I'm gonna go ahead and say it's got to be a Zoan type for sure.
Mythical beast from Norse mythology, maybe.
Probably. I don't see it being a Logia type. I can't imagine a Logia type. And Paramecia, like, I can't see that either. Second time in this arc, somebody's referred to themselves as the sun god. So again, now Loki is calling himself the sun god, who will bring about the end of the world.
Ragnarok. Like, there's a purpose. He was burdened with glorious purpose.
And he's gonna do it. But then he's like, nah, Luffy's gonna be the one to do it. He's my captain now.
By the end of this arc, Loki,
new Straw Hat member,
might just be a cooler Buggy the Clown.
That's wild. First of all, that statement is completely wrong because Buggy's already cool. There's nobody cooler than him.
Nope.
Really, really fun chapter. Finally, we are in Elbaf. After so many years, we are finally here, and I'm super excited.
Yeah, meanwhile, Luffy is just having fun, dude. Exploring this new world, this new arc. And like Luffy, smiling joyfully across Elbaf, we hope you have smiles on your continued journey. Smiles and happiness, because we are out.